So in the first half, the refs didn't call. Someone should have been thrown out, and the refs did not call it.
Correct. I remember that.
They didn't. And so I was like,
that
all
was when
right.
she got full body chested.
By 3 people.
Yeah.
Like 2 people, they're like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, if that was anyone else, I would have been booted out of the game. We're like 14 games in. And so like that game, I was kind of hungry. I know I was a little tired. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. I was hungry and tired, and I was over people's shit.
Oh,
and
wait,
so,
that's awesome.
What everyone else is thinking or talking about, not just with the refs,
Did you post
but
that
with
after
Detroit,
after you guys lost?
with Cleveland, I want people to hear what I just said. I am the only one, but if you ask our league, they feel the same exact way.
Why is Caitlin Clark furious with WNBA officiating? The moment Sophie Cunningham hit the ground, having been thrown during a rebound attempt, left everyone stunned, except the officials, who made no call. This isn't just about one missed whistle. This moment might be proof of a problem plaguing the whole league. What's happening behind the scenes, and why are players like Clark saying enough is enough? You won't want to miss how this frustration is setting the stage for major league-wide debates. Before we move on, I would like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video.
I think he regrets that one.
That's fine.
Was it after a game you won or lost?
We won.
Okay, that's fair then.
I
was gonna say it's gonna sound like you're making excuses.
And I get it, because if I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy. It's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're gonna be fouling the shit out of me,
yeah,
cool. But let me do it to you.
Let you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want
like
consistency then.
Yeah, like, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Most? Everything?
Like,
it all went down in the third quarter, a tightly contested matchup between the Storm and the Mercury. Sophie Cunningham was fighting for position under the basket, trying to grab a rebound when a Seattle defender shoved her hard. Too hard. She hit the floor and slid across the court right in front of a referee. The crowd gasped. The Phoenix bench was on its feet, but the whistle never came. Cunningham, clearly frustrated, got up, brushed herself off, and glared at the ref. Caitlin Clark wasn't having any of it. Standing a few feet away, she threw her arms into the air, shouted at the official, and made it clear to anyone watching that she wasn't going to stay quiet about the blatant no call. But this moment didn't come out of nowhere. Leading up to the play, the game had already turned physical. The Storm had been ramping up their intensity, trying to claw their way back after trailing for most of the first half.
We go one ahead of the Storm here. The Mystics, so the Dream go 18-11. We go 17-12. 5 games over 500, 5-game winning streak. That's what we need. But that was a show of 2 people. That was the Natasha Howard and Sophie Cunningham show. That's what that game was. I thought Ari had a good game. I've never seen Kelsey Mitchell play this badly in my life. She hit a big shot though, and they made a big play down the stretch to make it a 3-point game, and it went to 1.
Bodies were colliding in the paint on nearly every possession, with Cunningham taking some hard hits even before this incident. You could feel the tension building. Both teams were fighting for momentum, and every possession mattered. That play, the one where Cunningham hit the ground, wasn't just a random occurrence. It was the culmination of a battle inside, a battle that the officials seemed to be ignoring for most of the game. What made the situation even more glaring was how close the referee was to the play. She was standing right there with a clear view of Cunningham's fall, yet she didn't react. No call, no explanation, nothing. Caitlin Clark couldn't believe it, visibly mouthing, "Are you serious?" as she exchanged words with the ref. Everyone could see that she was fired up, and it wasn't just about this one incident. It was about what this kind of officiating represents. When obvious infractions go uncalled, players feel like they're not being heard, like their safety and effort don't matter. And here's the thing, this wasn't just a one-off mistake. The inconsistency in officiating didn't start with this play, and it certainly didn't end there. Earlier in the game, a nearly identical scenario played out, with a Storm player being shoved during a rebound, this time drawing a foul that gave Seattle free throws. Moments like these leave players and coaches frustrated because there's no predictability in how the officials will respond.
Like, just give, and I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country, like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do shit.
If someone were to like say someone called men's basketball their whole life and then went over to women's, would they be expected to call the game differently I'm just curious if they're coming from random place, like where they're coming from.
The thing that I have the biggest issue about the female sides of refs is like they're so emotional.
Everyone's left guessing, and if you've been following the WNBA this season, you've seen it happen time and time again. Controversial calls, or lack of them, are becoming way too normal. Here's another layer to this. Coaches can't even speak out about it publicly without facing penalties. The WNBA's policies essentially silence anyone who points out these problems, creating a culture of fear around holding the league accountable. Players like Clark and Cunningham are left taking matters into their own hands during games because they know no one else will. Their frustration isn't just about missed calls, it's about the lack of respect they feel from the very system that's supposed to protect them. Ultimately, the missed call on Cunningham isn't just an isolated moment of chaos, it's a snapshot of a larger issue that's been bubbling under the surface for years. The longer this goes on, the more players like Caitlin Clark will feel compelled to speak out, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. And when those cracks in the system begin to affect not just individual plays, but the entire dynamic of the game, you have to start asking, where does it stop? What happens when momentum, safety, and fairness are left up to chance? The Fever thought they had everything under control. Up by 12 points midway through the third quarter, they were cruising. It wasn't just the score line, it was the way they were playing. Caitlin Clark was leading the offense, Sophie Cunningham was battling in the paint, and the tempo was clearly in Indiana's favor. But then the Storm went on a 10-2 run to close out the third, and that's when everything started to shift. Suddenly, the momentum was gone. By the fourth quarter, Seattle had all the energy. They strung together an 11-0 run, clawing their way back into the game, and what looked like an easy win for the Fever turned into a scramble to survive. So what happened? Sure, basketball is a game of runs, but this wasn't just about who could make shots. The officiating, or lack thereof, played a huge role in the chaos. But don't think Seattle came away unscathed either. Toward the end of the game, they had chances to seal the win, but they couldn't capitalize. Gabby Williams missed a potential game-tying shot at the buzzer, and Skylar Diggins came up short on 2 wide-open threes. Even though the missed calls seemed to weigh harder on the Fever, the Storm felt that same inconsistency in their own way. Both teams were affected, not just by the calls that weren't made, but by how those moments disrupted the flow of the game. Then there's the bigger issue, the one that goes beyond wins and losses: player safety. This isn't the first time we've seen stars like Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham take hard fouls this season. Cunningham in particular has been battling all year with how physical the post play has become. Yet time and time again, fouls like the one that sent her sprawling to the ground don't get called, leaving players feeling vulnerable and unheard. That visible frustration from Clark during this game wasn't just about a single play, it was about the broader lack of protection being offered to players at all levels. Games shouldn't feel like wrestling matches, but that's what happens when officials don't control the physicality early on. By the second half, the tone has already been set, and players are forced to endure reckless hits without fear of repercussions for their opponents. But here's the real damage. Poor officiating doesn't stay contained within one game. It ripples through the league, slowly chipping away at the credibility of the sport. Fans tune in to watch some of the best basketball players in the world, but when missed calls grab the headlines instead of the performances, something has to give. Players speaking out about unfair or dangerous treatment isn't just a side note, it's proof that the WNBA's current approach to officiating is failing them. Even stars like Kelsey Plum have voiced their frustrations, saying she's sick of the fouls she takes during games. Sure, fans love seeing gritty, competitive basketball, but nobody signs up to see star players risk their health over unnecessary physicality. Which brings us back to that game. The call, or lack of it, against Sophie Cunningham wasn't just another small refereeing mistake. It was part of a bigger system that's affecting the integrity of the league. When officiating is inconsistent, it becomes a distraction. Players feel unprotected, teams lose momentum, and fans start questioning the outcomes. The rule book exists for a reason, to ensure fairness and keep the focus on basketball, not chaos. But as we saw in this game, when the rules aren't enforced, it's everybody's loss. So what happens when these issues don't just decide a regular season matchup, but start creeping into the playoff race? The missed call on Sophie Cunningham isn't just frustrating, it's a signal of a bigger problem gripping the WNBA. Right now, the league is booming, with more eyes on the games and tighter playoff races than ever before. But moments like this raise a crucial question. How can fans believe in the results when officiating feels so unreliable? Every game matters, especially in a season this competitive, and poor officiating risks diminishing everything players and teams work for. Change has to start at the top because, without action, these issues won't just impact games, they'll shape the league's future. What's next?